what is this self, and there is a self discovery. So you see that how our master works and how it helps us to develop a penetrating intellect by a common sense approach. Discovery, we say, Marie Curie discovered, invented radium. So discovery simply means that we we find something new. But if you understand the meaning of the word discovery, so instead of uncovery, we have in English language we use the word dis. So dis means uncover. So just a session before you, it's a group session. So they asked me, what do you mean by it? Oh, it's so simple. I told them, imagine that I send you a gift. So every gift has a wrapping around it. It's a wrap. And inside the wrap, there is a big box, second layer, and the third box in which the gift is located. There are three layers of the self discovery. Three. Outermost wrapping is the impurities of the mind. We take our life for granted. We do not contemplate and reflect. So that mind is impulsive, instinctive, habitual, and it follows a set of routine that is known as the impurities of the mind. One, wrapping. So basically, the way we think, speak, and act in our life daily, it is mixed with that wrapping. I hold myself somewhere I have to speak, somewhere my mind wants to react and I hold myself. That reaction comes because of the impurities of the mind. Last week. I was saying we have almost now 8 billion people. Every human being. Think, my friend. Every human being who has lived a life of 50 years or maybe 20 years only. In the 20 years, his mind pops up with 1,000 desires. Now multiply 8 billion people and 1,000. Almost, almost 8 trillion. So these are not 8 trillion desires. These are 8 trillion different individuals living on the earth. Because every desire creates a different personality.
Yeah.
And that causes the second layer of that is known as distraction. That is the reason my mind is wandering, distracted. It has no control. I am just saying in a very rough example 1,000 desires. At the age of 20, no, it may be 10,000. It's a rough estimate.
Yeah.
So it means one Nick, one Girish becomes 1,000 individuals. And that is why the mind is wandering. And what we do, I have a lot of thoughts, let me control my thoughts. No, nothing will happen. Nothing has happened until date. If you are controlling your thoughts, nothing is going to happen unless we dig inside. We find the cause of these thoughts popping up in my mind. The moment I wake up, until I fall into sleep. So that is distraction, a sense of restlessness, sense of anxiety. Many thoughts, it is also one form of anxiety. I hold myself. That is the second layer we have to remove it if we want to have a self discovery. And third layer is the ignorance. What is ignorance? Ignorance means what I think I am is false notion. And do not take, I do not understand this. So misunderstanding, false notion, notion, wrong ideas about who am I. That is what the ignorance is. But if I recognize the outermost layer are the impurities, what are those impurities and how to remove them? If I don't know the technique, then what happens? Because of the impurities, we develop a very strong ego. I know myself. How dare you are insulting me? Oh, because you get insulted. That's why I'm insulting you. Don't get insulted. That's another form of the ego. So that ego is the commander in chief of strong likes and dislikes, strong inclination, clinging. That is what you said. I gave 200%. That is a desire.
Yeah.
Based on the commander in chief. So, unless I know the tool and the techniques, then what happens? Then, by default, very important point, that then by default, we go for over the counter medication. We go for self medication. What is self medication? You said me something, I get hurt, and then I rationalize why you hurt me. So that rationalization is a self medication. What should we have? I should have done? I should find out what is this hurt. You spoke some words. Can the word hurt me? Answer is no. Another self medication. Perhaps you had a bitter experience of drink, hard drink. That is another way to self medication. Third medication, I get infatuated by the thing, object, and the people outside. Why I get infatuated? I want to forget my stress and suffering. Self medication. Like this crazy brain has created hundreds of tools for self medication. I married you to be happy. I divorced to be happy. Another tool of self medication. I can give you. As long as we are going for self medication, that is what happened in the last 2 years because the mind was totally obsessed with the self medication. And suddenly it dropped one day when you said, "This is what I want the self discovery." So the mind became clear. How
Yeah.
it what is that clarity now? Understand that? What is that clarity? That clarity means I know that I don't know myself. Again, I'm repeating. I know that I don't know my real self. In self medication, impulsive thought returns and it say, I know what I am, who am I? That is why you insulted me. And I already gave you an answer. Why you feel insulted? That's your choice. I know who am I, and that is why I am going for self medication. This is the greatest ignorance, the third layer we have to uncover. But before I uncover the first two layer, I cannot jump into the third box. So what is that? Now pay attention to this thought. I know that I don't know my real self. What happens to the mind? The mind becomes very humble. I don't know. I have interacted with a lot of American kids, and I will differentiate with the Indian kids. When you go to the Indian kids who are studying in middle school, what do you want to be? Oh, I will become a doctor and the engineer. Because there is a tremendous heavy conditioning by the parents in the Indian society. Now the things have changed. Become a doctor or an engineer or an IT expert. But when you ask here, what do you want to be? I don't know. That's a very simple answer. What do you want to be? I don't know. Because so that a difference. So when what happens when my mind confirms that I know that I don't know myself, there is a sense of humility. Why
Listen
there
to
why there is a sense of humility? Because there is a sense of helplessness. I don't know who am I, from where I have to get this knowledge.
yeah.
And then the journey of the Eastern wisdom begins in your life. You may be listening for years together, but if the mind is not ready inside, that makes one a seeker. With that humility, what comes? I want to know what is right and good in my life to find how I am permanent peace and happiness. Then you are a seeker. That state of the mind always remains with you all the time. Your contemplation and reflection continues during the day, whether you are living a personal life, professional life, social life, family life. I will talk about that in that moment, even the master gone deeper, and they say there are three levels of seekers. Lowest level of a seeker, swinging like a pendulum. They go for self medication, they come back. I have a wonderful young friend. All are my friends who approach me. So he was a nurse in New Jersey, and he switched his profession to an IT. So he said, I'm not going to leave you. So every time he used to attend a session, he used to keep a glass of bottle. I said, okay, it may be a water. And one day I asked him, what is this? Oh, no, it is a beer. I said, how many beer you take during the session? Maybe five and six. Oh, that is why you get it totally absorbed in meditation? Yes, that is why I take a beer. I said, do you think that the self medication and this journey will go together? If you drink outside the session, I can think of it. But you are so much obsessed with it. I'm not giving you any lesson. I said, I know I will be losing money, but I'm not giving you any lesson. Not possible. Once you leave it, because he came from reference from his sister, and sister has been a good student of mine. When she called me, I said, no, I cannot do it. Because then Your any word, any sentence, any knowledge, any wisdom will not go into your head. So the lowest level of the seeker, they swing like a pendulum, they remain. You also asked me a question. What do you mean? If I find the permanent happiness, then you asked only once, but then you did not stress on it. Oh, what do you mean? Then I won't get a pleasure in the world outside.
Yeah.
First, find out permanent happiness inside, then see what is that pleasure. First,
Yeah.
work. First, work on it.
Because you won't have the same desires anymore.
You don't have the same because you are full of unbound, unlimited happiness. You remain calm, relaxed, and fresh, full of energy late in the evening, even after working for 8 to 9 hours.
So I feel like that is my true nature. And then like sometimes people are always like, and I'm just like,
Tell them because I'm crazy. Crazy people are always happy.
okay, I will.
Society lives, I'm just making one statement, then I'll come back and focus on the topic. Society means group of individuals. A group, a herd, lives unconsciously and subconsciously. They go by the social rules even if it is 100% wrong. Why I said so? If you are doing much better in your life, society has a complaint.
Yeah.
And if you are not doing good, society still complains. Why? It is not the fault of the individuals, it is the way the society works. And this journey is to live little above the society while living into the society. Why you sound crazy? That's why I'm happy. Why? Because you don't follow the Eastern wisdom, so you do not know. So I'm not wasting my time.
Yeah.
I just take it carefully. So the lower level of medium level of a seeker means that I have that humility. I know that I don't know my real self, and until I find it, I will continue the journey. That is my commitment. But commitment sometimes breaks because of the impurities of the mind, first layer, distraction, second layer, but then we return again. So we keep listening and learning and doing the practice. From the next week, we will also add some practice. And the highest level of a seeker is devoid of the impurities and the distraction. Then what he need to do? Those people listen to the teacher and at the same time they awaken. Knowledge is realized. That is highest level of a seeker. So it means what? If these principles are not realized while listening, we are at the medium level of a seeker because we are continuing the journey. So it means I have to dig inside my head and inside the mind, and I have to find out what are those impurities and how those impurities are blocking the knowledge to be realized. Remember the three statements and remind me and contemplate and reflect based on what we have discussed until now. With reference to the three covering that we need to uncover, one master beautifully says, mind cannot know the real self directly. So, what is the answer? Mind can know the real self indirectly. Second, unqualified mind or intellect cannot know the real self. Oh, what is the answer? The mind has to be qualified. So now see, when mind is qualified, pure and the qualified mind illumines the real self. When? All the time. Where? In all situations. In what relations? In all the relations. What is that state? Where the first covering is gone, second covering is gone, third is also. That is entire summary of the journey. Mind cannot know the real self directly. I know. Now you see that I will change the phrase in the word and be aware. I know you directly. Why? I see you through my sense organ processed by the mind. You see me. I see you. I hear you. You hear me. So I know you through the mind. Am I clear? Now you see that is the problem. So when I say that I see you directly, you see me directly, is it really true? In between you and me, there is a mind and there is a sense organ. So I don't see you directly, I see you indirectly. I hear you indirectly because ears are between you and me. Not only ears, all the sense organs and the mind is in between you and me. What is the conclusion? Mind knows everything in the world indirectly. Give me one example. No, no, but make it clear that what do you mean by knowing directly? Mind is not required. Sense organs are not required. Then what is left is the real self. What is real self? Real self is consciousness. So that real self knows the real self directly. That is the journey of the self discovery. Why? Why do you say? Is it possible the real self knows the real self directly? Yes, because real self is of the nature of the consciousness. Mind cannot know anything indirect, cannot know the thing directly. Why? Because the mind borrows the consciousness from the real self and then it passes that consciousness to the sense organ. Then the sense organ passes that consciousness to the object and the people. Mind knows everything indirectly. That is why the Eastern wisdom says we have to learn how to know the real self directly, but until we become a seeker, it is not possible. So I reverse that statement. Common statement is in the society is considered right that the mind cannot know the world, mind cannot know the real self directly. It means mind can know the real self indirectly. But the fact is that mind cannot know any object, anything, any perception directly. It knows everything indirectly. So if I have a problem with my eyes, I could see you differently. Indirect perception is always not right. But in the rule of law, so it is just the opposite way. That we need to understand it clearly. One girl meets you and says you, hey, you are so wonderful. I love you. So you have two indirect ways of interpretation. One is the I, the mannerism and the behavior, and the mind gives a wrong interpretation, and then you move ahead and you find this is no, this is totally wrong. I am wrong. It happens in our relationship all the time. So the main principle is arrived at the real self knows the real self directly. Means what? Real self knows the real self by itself, not indirectly through the mind and the sense organs, because the sense organs cannot see the real self. Why it cannot see the real self? Because the real self is of the nature of the consciousness, and for the eyes to see, eyes should also be of the nature of consciousness. It is not of the nature of the consciousness. It is matter. It is made up of carbohydrate, protein, minerals, elements. It cannot see it. Mind is matter. Thought is matter. That is why we say you enter into the state of thoughtlessness. Means what? There is a pure awareness. Only awareness is left. If thought is there, mind is there. And if the thought is there, the object of perception is there. It means all the sense organs are still participating. That is the meaning of first statement. Second statement, unqualified mind or intellect cannot know the real self. Unqualified. What is this unqualified mind? Unqualified mind. In the state of unqualified mind, mind is obsessed with I thought. It blindly says what information that I gather from the science, from the senses and the mind is right. First step. When it is right, it creates a false notion about oneself. And those false notions are settled in the mind. Until I am clear what is false self, I cannot find out the real self. Why? Because that false self will declare that I am the real self. Where is the problem? So unqualified mind cannot know the real self. First is, so now the pure mind and the qualified mind illumines the real self. Did I give the example of your hand? What do you see? No, what do you see?
Your palm, five
Fine.
fingers, skin.
Yeah, very good. And you missed the basic thing. In the absence of light, you cannot see the palm and fingers. That is how we miss the real self is present everywhere in everything. Now see, do you see the palm and fingers? You rightly said. But when I remove the palm, what do you see? You say nothing. No, light is still there.
Sure.
That is the presence of the real self. That presence we have to discover. The mind is limited. Go back again. Do you see the palm? Yes. Do you see the light on the palm? Yes. At the back of the palm? Yes, the light is there. In that light, I know it is a palm. On the right side, on the left side, on the top, on the bottom. Oh, that light is all permeating everywhere. In that presence, I recognize this palm. Real self is like the light which is permeating, pervading everywhere, in my stress, in my pleasure, in my peace, in my happiness, in my love, in my wisdom, in my obsession. Your house is in Phoenix. Really? Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. So let me take the space out and keep your house in Phoenix. I'm still explaining you the mind cannot know the real self. Mind knows there is a house in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Your restroom cannot exist without space. Kitchen cannot exist without space. Bedroom cannot exist without space. Your house is in Phoenix. Very good. So I will take the space out of your home. Keep your house. Not possible. Your house cannot exist without space. House means it is an enclosed space. And within that house, we have an enclosed space known as the restroom, garage, closet. Ah, name all the things. Right? Now tell me one thing. Is the space inside your house is different, separate from the house outside?
No.
This house is built, you destroy that house. Do you think that the space inside this home is merging with the space outside? It is one space.
Yeah.
It remains one. That is the nature of the real self. That is what we are discovering. In order to discover that real self which we miss, you miss the light. You said this is a palm. You cannot recognize the palm in the sense of a light. There is a total darkness, and I say, what is this? What the heck you are speaking? I don't see anything. That is what happens in deep sleep. I'm not aware of the body, I'm not aware of the world, I'm not aware of the mind. Unconscious state.
Yeah.
Impurities, outermost layer, distraction, wandering mind, second layer, ignorance, third layer. In the presence of these three layers, I cannot find the real self. It is a fact. I'm not talking of the cult, religion, dogma, belief. In the presence of the light, the objects are reflected. In the presence of the consciousness, we are talking, we are listening, we are learning. Take the consciousness out, speak out. You cannot.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people say, oh, it means it is a mystic journey, it is an occult. No. We can unfold this mysticism by understanding. All homes, buildings are destroyed and nothing happens to the space. Nothing happens to the space. Even we have an enclosed space which is known as a home. You destroy all the walls, nothing happens to the space. You destroy this 65-year-old body, nothing happens to the real self. The consciousness is independent. Real self is independent. So people say, oh, that seems to be mystic. It's nothing mystic.
What is mystic?
Mysticism, we talk in terms of mysticism and then we get involved into unnecessary mystic experiences, and that does not land us anywhere. We have to unfold everything by understanding, by the knowledge. The way the light is present everywhere, same way that consciousness is present everywhere. Only we need that in order for the consciousness to manifest itself, it needs a mind in the body. Otherwise, the consciousness does not have any need to manifest itself. It is complete in itself. It is of the nature of peace and happiness. It is of the nature of the love, immense love. So, in deep sleep, compare the two bodies, human body. One is a dead body, another is a sleeping body. Only difference is consciousness. In the absence of consciousness, one body is known as dead, other body is known as alive. No, but how come they look the same from outside? Then our mind raises the doubt. You leave the dead body, it fragments. Fragment means changing. Do you think your body is not changing? Only the speed is live body changing slowly. Dead body changes very fast, but the change is already there. This week, the master defines simply whatever is changing in the world, slow change, fast change, good change, bad change. Whatever is changing that your mind understands is not you, it is your false self. So contemplate and reflect. What is that in the entire universe that does not change? That is me. That is the real self. Oh, I used to give another example. Just it happened. One event took place with me last week. 64. So almost 35, I would say, no more than 40 years ago. I and one of my classmates, we both completed bachelor's from a university undergrad, and then we met hardly 2 or 3 times in these 40 years. He googled out my name and he saw a couple of YouTube videos, and then he contacted me, and I said, "Oh, that guy. Pay attention. Difference between the qualified and the unqualified." Then we had a virtual meeting like I have now. Oh, you have changed. You have such a long beard. Oh, you have totally bald face. You have a bald head. I told him that now you are double than me. No, I have a diabetes. Now see what is happening between them. I was noticing and I was observing. The shape has changed. The color and the form has changed. But we both recognize that you are the same person, I am the same person. I could not, if I focus on his body, forget about it. No, 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 you are not the same guy. Do you see that? The same way. He told me, no, you have beard guy, no. You, that I is the real self covered by the body, mind, intellect, ego, frame, color. We know real self everywhere, but we don't admit. So much of change for 40 years. I have changed, he has. What is changing is the concept. Drop it. We both dropped what was changing. What did change for 40 years? And he is in Mountain View. He's a great engineer. He's some vice president in Google and somewhere. Do you see that? Unconsciously, we recognized, but we did not know whom we recognized. That is the only difference. The real self is present there. He did not recognize me that I was minus body, structure, beard, barb, same way that you, in that I was recognized in him, not with the double overweight, diabetic. No, my friend, we do it every day. No, no, but it doesn't happen because of the 3 layers I told you: impurities, distraction, wandering mind, 8 billion people and 80 trillion desires. And the third is the ignorance, living with those false notions all the time. Going back this week, whatever is changing in this world, become aware and make it sure that what is changing, the mind does not give a label of I am internally. This week, contemplate what is changing. Body, yes. Mind, yes. Ego, yes. Thoughts, yes. Everything is changing in this world.
Actually, I do have a question.
Yeah.
Why does the mind like when you see something like
Two things. Why I feel like this because of the three covering. And second thing, if your intellect is saying why I should feel scary, but I have one simple question: why you are watching such movies?
I know I didn't think it was gonna get scary.
I'm watching this movie because of self medication. I enjoy some fear for the pleasure to bypass to avoid my real fears of my life. Otherwise, why I should be interested? I don't have enough time. Whatever the time I have a spare time, let me sit, go into deep calm and relaxation, contemplate and reflect. But my mind is full of the impurities. It triggers those impressions, and then we go for self medication. Watching movies is also a self medication.
Yeah.
So, what happens? Now, see that relative comparison, and so that you know what should be done to avoid that fear. What is changing? You see, the movie is changing,
Yeah.
characters play. But where the you are watching the movie, that background, that the screen of the TV is not changing. Light is not changing. Whether I show my palm or I don't show.
Yeah.
Why we have fears? Because we create a false notion what is going on into the movie. It is projected into my impure mind, and that causes the fear. At the same moment, I recognize it is only the screen on which many images are appearing and disappearing.
I know.
On that screen of the real self, that is pure consciousness, your body, your breath, your thoughts, my thoughts, your mind, my mind, your ego, my ego, they all appear and disappear. I am of the nature of the real self. We are already playing a big drama in our day to day life. What is the fun of watching the movie? It doesn't mean I don't watch. I watch, but my natural focus is on the screen. On my TV, I have 80-inch screen TV. Nothing is happening there. No harm is being done on which the image is projected. So how it can affect me? How it can affect me? So this week, what is changing cannot be true. It is a false. When I identify with the false, that identification causes the emotional dependence. Emotional dependence means I am attached. When I am attached, I am attacked. When I am attached, I am attacked. That's why I feel the fear.
Yeah.
Do you see? I am attached and I am attacked. But the fact there is nothing. Everything, the image appear and disappear on the screen. You close, you shut off the TV and you see the same screen. You see nothing. Mirage water. Too far. You see the mirage water. Mind says it is true. So how to examine it? You start approaching near. And when you approach near, you don't see anything. It disappears. People say seeing is believing. No, seeing is false. Seeing is false. Ah, now he or she is giving me a good response. Seeing. I have to maintain my awareness. Is that seeing is getting attached? I have to maintain my awareness. So when you maintain that awareness, you find, okay, I got it. How are you? I love you. So I also love you. I'm aware. I maintain my awareness. And I remind myself that until I discover that eternal, permanent love in me, the rest of the love is nothing but attachment. It is a movie. Even if my mind truly says, honestly, I love you, there is no honest love, there is no dishonest love. Sometimes we say, I honestly, truly, I love you. So, what is false love then? Both are attachment.
Yeah.
The more I force that I truly love you, make sure that person is ready to exploit you. He or she wants to build an emotional dependence, and that is going to cost you in future.
How do you know when it's attachment or not?
Aha, very good. How do you know it is attachment? You love someone, it's a true love, you had a good sound sleep. You have an attachment, your mind is constantly thinking. In attachment, you constantly, obsessively think about that person, that object.
Yeah, that's how I get it.
I define based on you.
Well, yeah, yeah. No,
So,
but that could be with anything. I mean,
with anything, yes, yes, that can be. It can be with the car. It can be with house. It can be with the clothes. It can be with the shirt or a person or anything.
yeah.
Why you think now? Ask the second. Why my mind is constantly thinking in attachment? Because I'm expecting something. My expectations. So my if my expectations are not met, then I am frustrated. That is attachment. In love, it is a kind of self giving. You give yourself. Yes, I love you. That's all. Do I expect anything from you? No. If you leave me, will my love will drop? No. Because I am of the nature of love.
That's beautiful, Maurice.
I'm of the nature of oh, so I'm of the nature of love.
Yeah.
So when I'm you grow the orange tree in your backyard. Does the orange tree says why you are growing me in the backyard? You grow me in the front, then only I will give you the oranges. That is the nature of love. That is the nature of the love, my friend.
I
That
like it.
that is what the real self is.
Yeah.
So once we reach to that state of expression, that awareness, The same, the real self is love, real self is knowledge, real self is truth, real self is existence, real self is peace, real self is happiness. That that is the journey of the self discovery. So does a guy who discovers the real self always lives into that state? Yes. So it means a crazy guy comes and that awakened guy says, I love you. No. That expression and behavior comes from the mind. So that guy is extremely aware and he deals with these different people differently based on what response I have to give. The awakened guy doesn't go to the snake. You know that I'm awakened. Awakened guy doesn't go to a rattlesnake. Snake, I'm awakened. I'm very kind to you. No, I have to deal the way I can deal and prevent my survival. That is also important. So, lot of confusion between how that enlightened person thinks and speaks and lives in the same society. We need to think of it. That we will think, but this time, this week,